Hey, I wanted to just get you started on this little project. This is actually one of my favorite things to do, not in life, but in math class. Um, so we're going to do some math art, and essentially we're going to use lines to create an image. If you guys are familiar with stained glass, they're really pretty. I'll put some examples on Blend. But essentially we're going to use these lines to create a stained glass model. And one thing that might be good is just to kind of identify that there's some patterns here. So if you look, this is a negative slope and that's a positive, but their y-intercepts are the same. So they have the same starting point, and then this one goes down and this one goes up, right? Likewise, 3 and 4, negative, positive, but they have the same starting points. So kind of pay attention to what that's going to do with our image as we graph it. This is another one, right? Same starting points, and then negative slope, positive slope, negative slope, but again, same starting points. And then these are a little weird. I can do an example of those as well. But why don't we just take like 1 and 2, and you don't have to do this with me, you can just watch it and then do it on your own. Once you finish this, there are some points to plot, and this kind of looks like if you've ever done one of those like mystery graphs where you start with a blank graph and then plot points and make a picture. That's kind of what this is going to be doing. So you just kind of go in order and connect and then stop. But let's look at our graph. And the reason I gave you the paper instead of just giving you a digital copy is because it's kind of nice to be able to like cross out as you go. We'll start with that first line, and this is in slope-intercept form, right? So we were just learning about that. So we have a starting point of positive 12 and a rise of negative 3, 2. So you can actually just put like here next to it, m equals negative 3 over 2, b equals 12, right? So I'm going to come to my graph and I'm going to move to 12, and I'm just going to mark that point, right? And I did push that negative up to the top because we want to think about up or down first. So down 3, run 2. So at 12, I'm going to go down 1, 2, 3, run 1, 2. Down 3, 1, 2, 3, run 2. Down 3, 1, 2, 3, run 2. And I'm going to keep doing these points because the more points I do, the straighter my line's going to be, right? So 1, 2, 3, run 2. And you can almost see like little boxes that we're making. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, right? So like a little 3 by 2 box. 3 by 2. And we talked a little bit about this when we were graphing in our equations foldable, but do you see how this kind of pattern continues down? So we went down 3, run 2, down 3, run 2, and we go from left to right. Well, if I went backwards, so instead of going to the right, I'm going to go to the left, right? And instead of going down, I could go up. So I go up 3, back 2. If I do that, that point is actually going to be on the same line, right? And all that does is just help me be a little bit more accurate. Now, I don't have a ruler, and we actually don't have a ton in the classroom either, but if you take a journal, this is my old school journal, this actually works really good as a straight edge, and especially if you're using pencil, which you should be. But basically, I'm just going to go from the end of the graph down to the end of the graph and stop. So if you do pencil, it'll be nice because if you go a little bit long, you can always erase, right? So the initial draft of this should be in pencil. So I just did my first one. Now I'm going to do 3 over 2, start at 12. So the only difference is that my slope is positive. So let's see what that looks like. So this one went down. If I start at 12 and I rise 3, run 2, right? It's almost like immediately I run out of room. So you're going to have to use that trick of like, where would the point before this point be, right? So instead of going up 3 over 2, I could drop 3 and go backwards 2. It's almost like a negative, negative, and it's still going to be on that same line. Down 3, left 2. down 3, left 2. And if I'm doing it right, you should see a pattern. Down 3, left 2. And actually, you may notice too as you're doing this, it's almost going to be like a mirror. So this one's going down, this one's going up, but they're crossing that same point. Down 3, back 2. Down 3, back 2. And you'll see here, right? These are exactly across from each other. So that's how I know like this is exactly right. The only thing that changed, right, is the slope. Instead of being negative, it's positive. So what this is going to do is essentially, and I'm going to turn my paper here a little bit. This is a little awkward. Okay, so yours is going to look much nicer than mine, but I just wanted to get you to have an idea. So basically at this point I've created what's the start of going to a stained glass image, right? And you're going to keep plotting the lines until it creates basically like little sections, and then you can kind of make it look cool from there. I'm going to skip ahead just to one of these, so like y equals 12. I've had kids in the past think this is a little weird, and I actually, when I was y'all's age, thought the same. If I go to y, so this is my y-axis, right? So if I wanted to graph y equals 12, I'm just going to move to the 12 that's on the y-axis, and I'm going to mark it. So that was actually where we were earlier, right? Basically, I'm just going to color that line in. So that 12, that whole thing is going to be included. So you'll have a line at y equals 12. Right? And that's it, y equals 12. So if I saw something like x equals negative 10, right? All I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to my x-axis, I'm gonna move to negative 10, which is right there, and basically I'm gonna color that line, that negative 10. So the whole negative 10 line, as I move to the left, that's gonna be colored. So x equals negative 10 is actually like a vertical line. We don't see those too often because it's what we would call an undefined line, or it would have, whoops, you could say it's like not a function. Oh my goodness, that is horrific. This is why you should do this in pencil. So before you make it look cool, get the lines in there. But basically, that's how you would do x equals negative 10, right? So there is a version of this that's custom. I can post that on Blend just so you have an option if you kind of think this might be too easy, if you've done something similar before. It might be cool to branch out and try something new. But I did also leave up some examples in the room. Have fun with this. Think about patterns as you go. Really, it's just all about learning how to graph and create lines, right? If we can read lines, we should probably know where they come from and we should make them. So, have fun. Peace out. Check out the examples on Blend.